Dead by Daylight just finished celebrating their 10th anniversary event. Came and gone, and it was the Black Banquet this year. They made away with the Twisted Masquerade. And you've definitely seen some of the issues, or pretty much all the issues. I mean, every YouTuber, streamer in their right mind was making opinion videos. Killers were found dead in the dumpster out back. Nobody lived. Survivors, they were eaten like fucking kings. This had to be the most survivor-sided event in the history of ever. I genuinely don't think there's anything worse. Maybe launch DBD. But, you know what, I'm not gonna speak. I don't want to talk about the event specifically based off balancing and what I thought. I mean, if someone was curious, yeah, I hold the same opinions as most people. It was pretty shitty for Killer and really fun for Survivor because it was just a power trip. You just felt like God. But I wanted to speak about more of the future for the Black Banquet. You know, what can the Black Banquet be like next year? Because without a doubt in my mind, this is coming back. We're not done with the Black Banquet, okay? It's not. We're not done yet. It's not over. Much like the Twisted Masquerade, I would assume Behavior is cooking this up again for next year. And they probably will be for, I'd say, at least 3 to 4 years. As I'm pretty sure that's about how long the Twisted Masquerade lasted. Was, I think, for about 4 or 5 years. I wanted to brainstorm some ideas. Maybe throw in my 2 cents into the mix and see what we could offer as a change to make this better. Because I actually, alright, through the thick and thin of the negativity, the fog of hate, I do think there is some good things about this mode. So what are some things? Let's lay out the base first. The Black Banquet, instead of being a masquerade theme like last year, you know, blues and golds and very party aesthetic, right? Heavy. It's more occult feeling, more sinister, you know, with the reds, the blacks, the gold. I do actually like the theme a lot. I think it looks good. I think it's got a cool theme to it, and I really like the food theme. I think the food theme is honestly better than the invitations for the Twisted Masquerade. I think the food, it feels a lot more cooler, and I am bummed how shit it was done, because I think it could be good. So how it worked, you know, this year, 2026, the big 26, it was, you'd load into a match, the main generator and somewhere else in the map had like a banquet table, and around the area was banquet carts, these little trays you could, you know, swing on by and pick up some food to eat. Already a few issues with this. Loading in, I think, I'm not a huge fan on the specials being a predetermined thing. I think it would benefit a lot better next year if there was just more of a random assortment of food we could have per match. Because maybe they can add a few more dishes in general, but have it just random. Because this year there was 3 things you could get, right? Like there was, you load into a match and it would preset the creamy pasta or the, I can't remember what the other ones are called, but the one with a hand and it, you know, makes you invisible and stuff. And it was just that. And those furthermore tied into what setting the banquet table would do. So I feel like it kind of made for less randomness, because even the Twisted Masquerade, I'm pretty sure, was completely random. Like I think the invitation could have just been anything when you pick it up, or like it had a set amount of things you could do, but wasn't it like every minute or something, like the random effect, like global effect just happened, and it was like, could do something for Survivor, could do something for Killer. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I'm pretty sure that it was, you know, like more random in terms of the control you get. With the Banquet, it was pretty much all up to the Survivor what they wanted to control, because you load into a match, you instantly know what the food's gonna be, so you can kind of plan around a lot of things. It didn't also help that the carts spawned like literally right fucking next to each other. They were everywhere. I remember when I was finishing up the challenges, you had to eat like 30 morsels. I was on Orman and I literally went to a banquet cart that was right next to another one. And I just ran back and forth for like the whole match. I think having it just be like you load in, let's say, and maybe 2 or 3 random foods are selected. Like they add more next year, so there's more than just 3. So that way, when you go to a cart, it just gives you maybe like a random thing, so you can't, like you can still maybe plan in the long run, but if you get a head start in a chase, you can't just pick up like a fucking endurance or a sprint burst or something on the way, and you know, you can't just boom off from that, right? It'll be a bit more random. It was cool too with like the drop down menu. When you load it in, it was like, oh, here's the chef's specials, and everything, you know, it does. Here's what's on the course today. But like, wouldn't that be cooler if it was like genuinely just random? Because then it wouldn't just feel like it's like, oh, we got the portals. So that way loading in actually felt like you had to read the menu and see what was on for that match. And the biggest thing with the food is, what about killers? They didn't get to eat. Killers left this event on an empty stomach, man. They were starving their asses off because couldn't fucking eat anything. The only thing you could do was poison the food, which did nothing. You were better just throwing the survivor, or you were better just throwing the poison at the survivor because it would do more damage. So, how about next year we let the killers indulge in some food? Maybe give them effects to eat it, or just do anything else but poison the cart. They pretty much just made Plague's power the fucking killer power for the event. There was nothing. If they also make stuff for the killer, you know, other than just poison, they can go two routes, right? And I think it maybe could work both ways. One way is probably the better route, and the other way is the more fun, maybe quote, you know, loose quote. Shit's a bit shaky. So option one, they balance the event, right? They give survivors some toned down food. Okay. We're not putting no gold leaf on this shit. They can have a fucking bag of fries from McDonald's. That's the best they get. And the killers can have a spicy Thai wrap. It's the same, you know what? Or maybe the survivors can get a quarter pounder too, okay? We can get a little extra. It'll be balanced is the thing. It's just a nice meal, right? Make the effects more balanced. We don't need to give survivors this crazy on-demand sprint burst, 4 seconds of endurance, invisibility, infinite, or fucking, what was it, like rebuild all pallets and block all of them, and just heal a health state. So I'll talk about that in a second, like the banquet tables, but for the main stuff, you know, the endurance of sprint burst, and even the invisibility under some circumstances was very oppressive and very, you know, crazy. So we can tone that down. Let's give killers some stuff. They can literally bring back some shit from the Twisted Masquerade. I mean, you know, remote damage generators, maybe from the Haunted by Daylight, and then the remote hooks. Sure, it was killer-sided, but if it's a little survivor-sided, we can balance it out slightly with some killer stuff, and you know, they can tone it down. I'm not here to brainstorm number tweaks, but just give killers more of an ability that matches what the survivors are doing, because then it maybe could feel a bit more fair. They could limit how often survivors can take from the banquet table, because, like I said with the Orman match, I was just running back and forth. It literally, there's like a cooldown of like not even 10 seconds on the table. I don't think you could just grab food and then go get more food. It was insane. Like, so you just always had food, and there was tables everywhere. So lessen the tables, maybe add more of a cooldown on the food, and then let killers, you know, along with the option to poison the food, maybe they can take the food because they can have more fun. There was no fun to be had. Option 2, route 2, the more quote-unquote fun could be is if you're gonna make the shit completely busted, then just, you know, go broke or go home. Like, slam your nuts against the wall, or don't even take your shit out. Like, leave it in your pants. I don't want to see it. Because, you know what? If we're gonna give survivors all this crazy shit, then just fucking give killers some crazy shit. Give them, like, this is probably wouldn't be the better option, like I said, because people would still probably be annoyed. But at least then it's like fair game, you know, pick on someone your own size. Okay, give killers fucking crazy speed boosts. Let's give killers an invisibility. Like, can you imagine a Billy popping that shit and then ripping across the cornfield just invisible? Like, you can't, and then he just poof 3 meters from the gen, he just emerges out of the fog, like insta down. Like, that shit would be crazy and it would be annoying, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go broke or go home. You make it busted for both sides. I don't get like the whole one event's killer sided, then the next one's survivor sided, and then people say that that's like good design. It's like, well, you guys had it last year, right? It was killer sided last year, so now it's our turn. Like, no, it's just not fun. Because now next year, if that was the case, you're going to be complaining again, because it's going to be back to killer sided, and nobody wants that. I want it balanced in general. I don't care if it's balanced to, you know, be a lot less, very toned down and easily digestible, right? If we're being very punny, or just, I want the shit overcooked. All right, I want the most exotic tasting foods plated on this this game mode. I want shit just happening, like teleporting killers, invisible survivors. Give the survivors like, I don't even know. Make one of them like a syringe. Make the killer have like fucking expose everybody when he eats it. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know what? Before if Survivor, player sees this and is like, well, fuck you. I like having all. I think it's balanced. Like, I don't want killers to also have an event. Like the Twisted Masquerade last year, 2025, was pretty miserable for Survivor because killer could just do so much. The remote break pallet, remote send a hook, it was just very oppressive. Like, winning against a killer in that mode was quite difficult because they had so much to use. Like, it just streamlined the game. And it was the same with this year's. It just streamlined the core game. Like, the banquet table even makes me question, like, how Behavior was designing this and was like, oh, killers will love this. Because they don't even get to fucking interact with the table. Like, can you maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but could you poison the table? I don't even think you could. It didn't happen to me once when I was playing Survivor. I never had the killer interact with the banquet table. They can't even do anything to prevent the progress. And there's multiple banquet tables, so you can't just you can't be like, oh, defend, the banquet table so they can't global heal. There's multiple. And they were pretty far away from each other, so you'd have to give up actual gen defense, which, okay, I don't even got a joke. The global heal was just goofy. Absolute goofy behavior. Goofy behavior from Behavior. I don't know what kind of shit they were cooking with this, but it was torched. It was fucking fried, okay? Moldy, disgusting food. Gross, slimy. It was just malnourished. I'm malnourished. I didn't have anything to eat during this event. So yeah, the banquet table should more than likely be completely reworked, because just having to set it to reap some reward is really easy. It's so stupid. I like the food, so I wish, like I said, I wish there was more main courses and stuff, and it was more randomized. Like, I'm trying to just brainstorm ideas here, like what they could actually, like, maybe I can lay it out and make some actual, instead of it just being rambling, I can make some good propositions. I don't know. Maybe trying to get a little creative. Maybe the survivors next year have to make the food. Instead of it just being served on a platter, they have to gather ingredients and then they can make, make a course. Maybe that could be something. Who doesn't want to play Overcooked in Dead by Daylight? So they can go to the tables, gather ingredients. Maybe it picks up a random ingredients, and then they can take it to the banquet table to then, craft like a course depending on what ingredients are brought there. That could be one maybe cool way to do it. Then maybe they could keep the more overpowered effects, because if it takes longer to get them, then there's kind of like a balance there. Again, killers could probably do this too. Overall, the Black Banquet stunk this year. It was pretty awful. It was spoiled. It double stunk because it's the 10-year anniversary and Behavior is literally throwing. Like, I don't know what they're doing. This was a horrible event. And we're gonna see it next year, I would assume. I could be wrong. Maybe it performed so awful that the devs will just be like, fuck it, we're done. Welcome back, Twisted Masquerade. I hope not, because I do like the new style. I like that we're trying things. I wouldn't want like 4 years of the Black Banquet, but like it's better than just always being the Twisted Masquerade. Like, I think like 2 to 3 years tops, maybe probably 3 years of the same event and then switch it up is kind of the golden zone, in my opinion. It'd be pretty good. Yeah, another rambly kind of video. I just wanted to maybe throw out some ideas or how I thought about the Black Banquet. I don't know how you feel about it. Anybody felt like they thought it was unredeemable, can't be redeemed, maybe we just trash it and get rid of it. Maybe somebody thought it can be better. I think it can be better, maybe. I would hope. We got high hopes, hoping that the DBD devs actually tone something to make it better. But you never know. You never know.